UFC 319, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. This is the weigh-in recap. We're going to take a look at each of these fighters after the ceremonial weigh-ins, the official weigh-ins, see the face-offs, and go through the final picks. We'll wrap the video up with the parlays like we always do. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let's get this video underway. First fight of the night, we got the Ultimate Fighter finale, flyweight finale. Excuse me, I'm too excited for this card. Got before we break this, go into the final picks, we had a lot of fights canceled actually. Brian Battle moved up to middleweight, couldn't even make middleweight. He struggled to make 170 last time out against Randy Brown. That fight is canceled. Really, bummed out about that because we had money on that fight. We had Ruziboyev in there, but now Ruziboyev isn't fighting. We had the Bobby Green, Diego Fieta fight canceled because Bobby Green had an injury. So, not really too upset there. I was a little, back and forth on that pick anyway, but, hopefully we get to see Bobby Green fight again soon. I don't know what the injury was undisclosed, but he showed that he, had crutches and stuff like that. So maybe we'll get an injury update pretty soon. And then we also had the Ultimate Fighter 170 welterweight finale get canceled. I believe it was Rodrigo that had an injury, so that fight is off as well. Maybe though, kind of with the Brian Battle Trayshawn Gore fight, that was supposed to be the Ultimate Fighter finale, and then Battle ended up fighting Gilbert Urbina. Maybe they'll do something like that on the next available card and call up the next guy. But I don't know. I didn't watch the Ultimate Fighter this season. I just didn't have the time for it. But I did go back and watch some tape on Alibi Idris and Joseph Morales. Joseph Morales used to be in the UFC as well. So going into this fight, starting the card off, I am rocking with Alibi Idris. I think he's going to be too dynamic of a striker. He kind of reminds me of like a Azat Maxim, Sulam Abayev with like better striking, better, shot selection as well. I think he could win this fight on the feet, on the mat, wherever he wants to take it. And I do expect it to be a pretty gritty match. I think Idris probably wins by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finds a finish in this one. Joseph Morales, he's pretty gritty, he's pretty tough, but I think he's going to be a little outclassed by Alibi Idris in this one. Let's get to the scales. As you can see, we got Joseph Morales here, looking pretty solid. I know that the big old Prime logo is in the way, but I like the Getty images a lot better because the quality is so much better, and we get the straight on shot. Here's a Libby looking pretty good, and let's get to the face-offs. Here they are at the ceremonials. Libby with his, I think it's Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, wherever he's from. A little headdress. And here's the face-off here. Yeah, I'm going with Libby, man. You can't pick against a guy in a headdress like that. He looks like he's ready for war, and I think he's coming to bring it. So going with Libby Idris to win the Ultimate Fighter flyweight finale, and we'll be seeing him in the UFC. Next fight, we got K.Silva taking on Dione Barbosa. I'm going with Dione Barbosa. If you guys don't know, and I didn't know up until Wednesday, Thursday, whenever I found out, this is actually a rematch. Dione Barbosa won her fight, the first fight against K.Silva by unanimous decision. Went back and watched it. There's some pretty good scrambles back in 2019. Pretty good scrambles. She was able to hold her on the feet as well. I think it's going to look a little similar to that. I know it's short notice and everybody's, counting her out. That's why she's the underdog in this match. But Dione Barbosa, man, she's getting better and better. And like I told you guys, I saw her at UFC Atlanta. She looks like she's still in shape. She was coming off of a win 2 months before that. 4-month turnaround. I think she's going to be solid. Her gas shouldn't be an issue. And, I think she can score another W. Here in the UFC. A lot of times when we see rematches from previous, organizations and then one in the UFC, a lot of the time the person that won the first match ends up winning the second time. So I'm going with the underdog. I'm going with the witch to beat K.Silva. K.Silva is nasty. Like her nickname is the killer. 17 out of her 18 wins have come by finish. She's coming off of this loss against Viviane Araújo. I don't know. I think Dione's going to be a little too difficult for her. And I see a similar unanimous decision, split decision maybe, coming for Dione. So let's go with the underdog to get the win here. Here's Dione on the scale. Let me get the bigger picture for you. Like I said, man, the weight cut was not hard for her. She came in 126. She looks solid. I'm rocking with Dione. I think she can win, man. Here's Carini. Carini does look bulky, I will say. She came in at 126 too. I was kind of shocked because she definitely looks a lot larger, but she's just thicker boned, I guess you want to say. Let's get to the ceremonials. Here's the face off. I can't remember if they had shoes on or not, but Dione looks to be a little taller. Let's go back and look at the reach. I think the reach was a little similar too. But yeah, I'm rocking with the underdog in this one. I think Dione's going to surprise a lot of people. 66.5. Okay, Carini got a half inch on her, so there's really no reach advantage here. She is a little taller, 5'6" to 5'5". Yeah. I think Dione, she can dictate where the fight goes. Carini will have some moments of success on the feet, but Dione, I don't think Carini's going to want to wrestle and take Dione down. If she does, it could be, trouble for either one of them. But I think I'm going to edge Dione in the jiu-jitsu department, and her striking has been getting better and better. So give me Dione Barbosa, the witch, to pull off a 2-0 record against K.Silva. Next up, we got Edson Barboza taking on Drakkar Klose. I'm a little more confident in the Edson Barboza pick. Looking at Drakkar on the scale, he looked kind of flat. Like he didn't have the energy that I'm used to seeing from him. He just looked, like he was just there. Made weight, no issues, 156. Edson looked a lot better up at, excuse me, I was about to say welterweight, lightweight than he did at featherweight. I know he's coming off of this year layoff. But I think he should be able to, pick his spots and win a decision here. If he's able to defend the takedowns in the first round and avoid the power shots from Drakkar Klose, could be a really long night for Drakkar. So I do think Edson edges it out. Will be some scary moments for him. Probably, he needs to get his feet wet again from, not fighting for over a year. But I think Edson is going to, it's just going to be like jumping back on a bike. Yeah, he might, stumble at first, but I think he should be good. So I'm going with Edson. And let's take a look at Drakkar. Here he is on the scale. He looked I don't know, man. He didn't look he didn't really look confident. I didn't see confidence in him. We see Edson here, smiling. And one more thing too. If you guys are watching the weigh-in show on the UFC channel, the Chicago commission, man, they were jacking the scale all the way up. They were reading the wrong weight. I believe they were weighing Ruziboyev in for 205 when his fight is at 185. They were all screwed up for majority of the weigh-ins. But yeah, and then you only get one time to weigh in, so a lot of fighters were weighing in with the box on their very first time, and not trying to risk a weight miss, because as you can see, we got a fight off. Yeah, Brian Battle coming in at 190, coming up from welterweight, and you struggle to make 175. You would think that you could make 185, with no issues. But coming in at 190, that's unforgivable, man. He got fined and he got canceled. So I don't know what Brian Battle's gonna do next, but he needs to get that weight, together, man. It's not a good sign, not good trajectory for his career. So yeah. But yeah, going with Edson. I think he should win a decision here. Moving on. Very interesting fight. Looking at the scales, C.Hooper did look a little thin. I'm not going to lie. But he's always been a tall, lanky type of guy. 6'1", 74-inch reach. Slight reach advantage here. A.Hernandez, he does put out a good, output. Maybe he can keep the fight on the feet because he knows how dangerous Chase is on the mat. I will say Alexander does have, the output, the speed on the feet over C.Hooper. He trains with Brandon Royval, so those guys are, pretty high output guys. But I think C.Hooper's going to find a way to get Alexander Hernandez down, whether he likes it or not. And once he enters that world with C.Hooper, I think it's going to be control, submission attacks. Hernandez can, sprawl, or not sprawl, but, shoot for some reversals and things of that nature. Maybe, end up on top. But even then, he's still in danger. So I will be expecting a lot of, try to quick get ups from Alexander Hernandez. He's gonna try to get some quick get ups, but I don't know if C.Hooper is gonna let him out. I think his grip is a little too strong. Once he gets you down, I could definitely see him, locking up a leg. Maybe it's probably gonna be a weird submission if he does get the submission. But I am going with C.Hooper. I think he can stay on the feet with Alexander Hernandez, who was struggling against Kurt Hollabaugh, who is not faster than C.Hooper on the feet. Maybe he has a little bit more power, but definitely wasn't faster, and he couldn't stop a takedown. So Alexander Hernandez does like to mix in the wrestling in his game plan. If he's going to abandon the wrestling in this matchup, it could be a little bit of a red flag picking him. So, but this could be, a really close fight. Definitely could be a 29-28, but I think C.Hooper gets the submission. So I'm going with Chase, the prospect to keep on grinding. And let's get a look at these fellas on the scale, if we can find them. I hate the way they lay this out. I know it's, done by the time the picture was taken, but Lord have mercy, it just kills me. Here's Hernandez. He's pretty beefed up, on the scale. 156 for him. And where's Chase? Chase looked pretty thin, bro. He looked really, really thin. Here's another angle of him right here. Yeah. But I'm going with Chase. I think he finds a submission or a decision in this one. Let's get to the ceremonial weigh-in. Here we go. Here's the face-off. You see that height advantage for Chase pretty clearly. Yeah, I'm going with Chase. I think he's going to, his jab is starting to look a little better too. I think he can find the range and keep Alexander at pace for a good majority of the round. But if not, I could definitely see Alex, trying to take him down and bully him and get that neck caught up, or maybe another limb. So give me Alexander Hernandez, C.Hooper, armbar, leg lock, something in that order. So next fight we got Jessica Andrade taking on Poopy Godinez. Yes, I said Poopy because last time out, if you don't know, Lupita was about to poop her pants against Julia Pilastri. But I don't expect her to have to poop in this third round against Jessica Andrade because I do believe we're going to the third round. I think she's going to be able to control her bowels. That's first and foremost. If she does have to poop, it'll be before the fight or maybe even after. But I don't expect Lupita to, poop in the ring again. I do believe she's going to beat Jessica Andrade, and I think it's going to be a pretty solid decision. Can Jessica unload some pretty big bombs on her? Yeah, but I think, with Lupita's high guard, that tight Mexican style, I think she should be able to defend most of them. Jessica, when she's worried about, ladies that can take her down, she looks a little hesitant on the feet, and I am expecting her to look a little hesitant on the feet in this matchup. Maybe if Lupi doesn't shoot a takedown in the first round, maybe she comes out in the second round and starts letting her hands go, but then we're going to see Lupi take her down. So could be, a lot of control time for Lupi. Maybe she shoots for the submission. Maybe she gets some ground and pound going. However it goes, I do expect Lupi to, get it together and get back on get back on another win streak, 2-fight win streak, coming off the two. Well, she's got, obviously she won the last fight, but she was coming off the 2-fight loss streak. I think she could put another one together, and Jessica Andrade dropping down to strawweight again. I don't know, man. She's always been in between flyweight, strawweight. But I don't think she made the weight, no issues. But I don't think it's not that it's a bad matchup. It's definitely a matchup with bad IQ. But I got to go with Lupi. She's got the ability to wrestle, the ability to grapple. And I just got to go with the person that can do it all. This is MMA, you know what I'm saying? Let's get to Jessica on the scale. Made weight, no issues, 116. Kind of impressive to see her, being able to flop back and forth. And then where is Poopy? Where's Poopy at? Here we go. Looking good. Made weight, no issues. Oh, that's kind of a crappy whatchamacallit. Let's see if I can get yeah, here we go. Made weight, no issues. They took a while for her to, weigh in too. Probably were weighing her. I think they were weighing her in for flyweight. So yeah, this commission was getting it all screwed up. Let's get to the face off. Here we go. They look pretty comparable as far as muscularity. Um, yeah, I'm going with Loopy. That chin is a little out there, but Jessica has a tendency to overthrow. I could definitely see her, not connecting cleanly on Poopy Godinez's chin. And I think Loopy will look to wrestle probably late, like she did against, or no, I'm not late, excuse me, probably early, like she did against Pilastri. And Pilastri was a much more creative striker than Jessica, and she gave her trouble in the third round. So I don't see that coming back from Jessica in this fight. Next fight, we got GM3 versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I know I picked Mikhail, but I'm really not confident in it. It's either Mikhail by knockout or GM3 by sub. You know what I'm saying? A guy that has a really bad tendency to not defend wrestling or grappling, and a guy whose chin is questionable. I don't know if we could say his chin is gone. Can we say his chin is gone? That fight against Brad Tavares, he got cracked, but never really, rocked. Who knocked him out recently? Joe Pyfer knocked him out. It's Joe Pyfer. Before that, Hamza. I can't say his chin is gone. He got rocked by Edmund, actually. Yeah, I remember that fight. Edmund had him rocked and just gassed out, I guess, and got caught in the arm triangle round in the second round. I don't know if his chin is gone. It's still questionable. I guess this is the fight to test it. But ah every time I pick flipped on the weigh-in show, I lost. So I'm going with Mikhail, but like I said, I'm not super confident in it. Mikhail knockout or his bust, man, honestly. If he's unable to get the knockout and GM3 is able to wrestle him up and get him down, well, we got money on that. So here is Mikhail. He trains with the Fighting Nerds. Kyle weighed in as the backup fighter just in case anybody gets hurt. That's why you're seeing pictures of Kyle. But, he made it to Chicago with two of his partners, Carlos and Mikhail. Mikhail looks good. May weight. Definitely looks more. I would say, in his last fight against Dumas, he looked a little bit more flabby. Here, he looks a little bit more toned up. So and give him some credit on the weight cut. Looking for Mr. Meerschaert. Should be I think he's on the first page. Yeah. Where's Mr. Meerschaert with the classic old man? Let's see if we get another pick, a wide angled one. Yep, Mr. Meerschaert. Here we go. Classic mustache. He looks pretty good too. He looked cut up. Let's get to the ceremonials. And here is the face-off. Mikhail, I believe he's Polish, right? I think that's Poland. Came out with the face paint. Really intense. Pretty solid face-off here. You see GM3 with a slight height advantage. Yeah. It's either Mikhail knockout or GM3 round 3 submission. And to get his 30th submission in the UFC to make history. Yeah. Slight reach advantage for GM3 too. His boxing isn't bad, but Mikhail's a little slicker on the feet. I don't know, man. GM3 37. We're gonna have to see. I'm going with Mikhail, but it's like a red flag type of pick. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. To the prelim finale, we got Bisanger Sursakaev. Bisang. I see why Dana was having trouble saying it. Sursakaev. Because this dude, man, this is a new fight. I didn't break it down, for Monday's show because it wasn't announced yet. Because this dude fought on Tuesday on Dana White's Contender Series. Got a first round knockout on 4 days' notice, and now he's fighting on 4 days' notice again against Eric Nighttime Nolan, who's coming off of three knockout victories to punch his ticket to the UFC. Sursakaev is nasty, bro. I'm going with Sursakaev, and I think he's going to get a knockout here. His striking is nasty. His grappling is nasty. I've seen this dude get treetop. That's when, somebody grabs your kick and puts it above your head to try and take you down. This dude got tree topped and was striking with his leg up in the air. I saw him get his back taken. He threw the dude off of his back and ended up on top. He is complete. He's a complete fighter. He trains with Hamzat. And I think he's going to get a first round knockout against Eric Nolan, who does have power in that left hook, but he kind of relies on it. He does set up the shot. He will throw like 2 jabs out there. It will go to the body. But I don't think Singer, his head, I don't think his head is going to be on the line for him to, line it up. Nolan, a lot of his knockouts, I believe the last one, not the Blaine Richards. I didn't see the Blaine Richards fight, but the Gutty fight. Gutty was tall, leaving his chin out, hands down, and literally just walked into the punch. Ariane Tavares tried to close the distance with a knee, with like a flying knee, hands down at his side, and Eric just cleaned him up. You know what I'm saying? Dude's definitely got power, but he's also a welterweight. Sursakaev, that's easier to say. He is a natural middleweight. I believe he competed at middleweight. I believe he's a middleweight. Yeah, he's a middleweight. Natural middleweight. Whereas Eric Nolan, coming in on short notice, he looked good on the scale. I will say that. But he's a welterweight. He's probably going to have a lot more success at welterweight. And I think this is a really tough fight for him to, debut and short notice. Bicep Singer, he's a heavy favorite. Minus 800 is the actual line, I believe. And Eric Nolan's around like plus 550. I think Bicep Singer is going to clean him up, man. And he, little broed him at the ceremonial weigh-ins. We'll get there when we get there too. But yeah, it didn't really look good for Eric. He allowed it too. Here's Bicep saying, here's Sursakaev looking, solid on the scale. Got the shades on. Can't tell if he's drained out or not, but I don't think he is because he just fought a couple days ago. Definitely stayed, ready. And he's pretty slick, bro. He's nasty. He can, if he gets a finish here, he's going to blow up over in Russia. But here's Eric Nolan. Like I said, he looks solid. He's still cut up, but he's definitely better at welterweight. I don't think he's gonna have the highlight reel knockout. I think he's gonna lose, and I think it's gonna be by knockout here. Here is the face off. Y'all, this dude, don't ever let a grown man grab you by the back of the head like this for longer than 3 seconds, bro. He gripped the back of his head and was talking to him like, "You're my little boy." You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't allow that. And he let him do it. He was like, "Oh yeah, I am." Hey man, I would never let no man grab me by the back of the head like that for longer than 3 seconds. He definitely got Lil Broed, and I'm going with I'm going with Sursakaev to get the knockout because ain't no way I'm letting no grown man do that to me. Yeah, heavy favorite though. Opening up the main card. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got Tim Elliott taking on the lock of the week, Kai Asakura. Me and my guy Gavin over at Unit MMA. I'll put, make sure I put his socials in the comments again. We got Kai Asakura by knockout, bro, and I believe it's going to happen. Tim Elliott is the type of guy that will walk straight at you with his hands up in the air and just make you, think about what's coming. But I don't think it's going to be effective against Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura is going to see that. He's going to load up and just boom. He's like a bullet in the barrel, man. If he comes at you with one of them strikes, it could be a straight left hand, straight right hand, the knee. Like, I told you on the on Makai's Money Making Plays, it's going to be a rough night for Tim Elliott. I think he's suffering his first knockout loss against this super fast, super creative striker in Kai Asakura coming from, Rising. Yes, he lost to Alexander Pantoja in his UFC debut. But look at Pantoja and look at Tim Elliott. Last time Tim Elliott fought for a title was what, 12 years ago? 10 years ago? When did he fight DJ? 2016. Okay. So 9 years ago. My bad. Yes, he had success against Sumadarji, who's a long striker. Yes. Sumadarji is not Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura is an elite striker. He's a sniper. He's got power. He's much faster. He's longer. He's bigger. He's stronger. I don't think Tim Elliott is going to be able to, wrestle him up. Pantoja is imposing with his grappling. I'll say that. He just walks through anything. I don't think Tim Elliott is going to be able to walk through anything at 38, almost 39 years old. You know what I'm saying? Kai Asakura, second round knockout, lock of the week, plus 165. And let's get it going. Let's get to the scales. Here we go with Mr. Asakura first. Looking pretty good. Made weight 126. Doesn't look as depleted as we've seen other flyweights. And he's still young, man. What is he, 30? 31, almost 32. Whereas Tim Elliott is 38, sucking down to flyweight. He doesn't look sucked down, but this old at this weight, it's just a red flag for me. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to eat a knee, and he won't be getting up off the mat from it. So give me Kai Asakura. Here's the face-off. Tim Elliott, if you guys haven't seen, he shaved his head, or he got a haircut. Looks much better than what he did for his, professional pictures. But yeah, Kai looks like he's ready to run through this dude, and I believe he is. Good bounce back fight in the UFC for him. Fighting Pantoja in your very first fight in a cage as well. It was a rough loss, and he got strangled. Yes, he did. 8 months ago. I was hoping he would get a fight a little sooner. I definitely wanted to see him fight. Like, if they were going to really test him, I thought like a fight with like Charles Johnson would have been booked. But they gave him Tim Elliott, who's not bad. Tim Elliott is not bad at all. I don't want to sound like, he's trash or anything like that. But I think this is a very good matchup for Kai Asakura to look at the spot that they're putting him in. The main card opener. I think this is a really good spot to put Kai Asakura to get, the fans under him as well. Kai Asakura by knockout. Next fight, we got MVP taking on Jared Cannonier. I'm going with MVP. I think, and this is something I forgot to mention, on the full breakdown. MVP is also 38 years old. The difference between MVP and Jared Cannonier, who's 41, MVP still has the speed, bro. Jared Cannonier, I really like Jared Cannonier. Excuse me. But I just think this is a bad matchup for him. I don't think he's going to be able to, close distance properly. If he closes distance, I could just see him getting stung up with a 1-2 right down the middle. And MVP is going to be all the way out of range, and he won't be able to, counter, return, or even grapple. I think it's a really tough fight for Jared. I would like to see Jared win. Like I said, I'm not a fan of MVP. I don't like him at all, honestly. But I have to pick who I believe is going to win. And with the, versatility of MVP striking, the way he can hit you and just be gone within a second, within a blink of an eye, it's going to be tough. And, another thing that MVP said, I believe it was his media day interview, he was talking about how Jared probably brought in some guys to replicate his style, but you just can't replicate MVP style. Yes, you could find another, point karate type fighter, but I don't think they have the speed that MVP has. There's a lot of guys, they'll get in, they'll land their shot and try to look for another one as well and then get out. MVP, he's more like, bang, and then he's gone. And then if he does want to, put the combinations together, he's still out of there before a lot of other guys can be out of the pocket. Jared's going to need to, grab onto his arm, grab onto his leg, probably look to treetop, but MVP has a solid, ground game too. I could definitely see Jared. If Jared gets him down, he could be in some trouble because Jared does have some nasty ground and pound. The elbows from him are pretty nasty. We saw him split up Derek Brunson with them a couple years ago, but I remember that fight vividly. He, put Derek Brunson. I think that's the fight that set him up for the title shot against Izzy. But yeah, he looked nasty there. But, the losses to Imavov, yes, the stoppage was a little questionable, but you could definitely see the speed discrepancy. And then Kyle almost put him out as well. Yes, he got the win over RoboCop. RoboCop, emptied his tank, and he's a gigantic middleweight. MVP, he's a welterweight coming up to middleweight. He's definitely had the speed advantage. I think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna knock Jared Cannonier out, but I can't see him getting knocked down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going with MVP. The speed is just gonna be a little too much for Jared here, and could put Jared in a weird spot, man. Could put him in a weird spot. I don't think he's getting cut or nothing like that, but I don't know how much longer he got. 41 could be a little tough for him, but I'm going with MVP to win by decision. Let's get to the scales. Here we go. The Killer Gorilla. Yo, the dude looks amazing for 41, bro. You can't hate on him at all. Got the doobie on too. Shout out my gangsters. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think the London man, wherever he's from, MVP. I think he's gonna get it done, man. I would love to be proved wrong, though. I would definitely love to be proved wrong. Let's get to the ceremonial. And here we go. MVP versus the Killer Gorilla. Very intense. Yeah, I gotta go MVP though. 29-28, I could definitely see Jared. Maybe MVP tires in the third round. Maybe, Jared gets him against the cage, lands some big shots to the body, maybe, takes him down. But I think MVP is gonna be able to survive. So next fight, the featured fight of the night. Carlos the Nightmare Prates taking on Jeff Hands of Steel Neal, who's been training for a 1-round fight. It might be a 1-round fight, but it won't be in the favor of Jeff Neal because Carlos Prates is like that, and I think he's gonna knock out Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal, he's primarily a boxer. He likes to, skip side to side. I like the way he moves, bro. And you're gonna hear, his coach. I forgot his name, but rip him the fuck up. He says a lot of things in the corner, and you're definitely gonna be able to hear it on the broadcast. But I think Carlos is just gonna negate all of that, bro. He's gonna close the cage down for him. He's gonna put him in the corner, and I just see either a big left hand down the middle, the jab probably gonna drop him, or rock him, and then he just follows it up with the knee down the center, and Jeff Neal is going out cold. We're gonna get a Carlos Prates masterpiece. I'm telling you now. I'm a huge fan of Carlos. I really like this guy, man. He's a sniper up at 170, 3-inch reach advantage. He's been training hard. Yeah, he smokes cigarettes or whatever, but this dude is nasty. And you can smoke all the cigarettes you want if you can almost, finish Ian Gary in the 5th round. I think he's gonna come out and pull the trigger a lot sooner than what he did in Ian Gary. Now, knowing that he's only fighting 3 rounds and it's against a guy who he has seen before. Not that he's seen Jeff Neal, but he was training for Jeff Neal before. He got more time to prepare for him. He fought Li Jingliang, who's also a boxer. Does throw some kicks in there, but has some power as well. Look what he did to him. Nasty knockout. Charles Radke, who's also a boxer, got heavy hands. Knockout, knee to the body. And then Trevin Giles sat him down. Trevin Giles is probably a lot faster than Jeff Neal too. If I'm off the top of my head, I do think Trevin Giles is faster than Jeff Neal. Tell you now, Carlos Prates, 2nd round knockout, maybe 1st round. Let's get to the scales. Where is Mr. Neal or Mr. Prates? Not on this page. 3rd page. Here is Mr. Neal. Came in 171. Looks solid. You could definitely tell the difference at the ceremonial. Where is Mr. Carlos? Where you at, Carlos? Did I pass him? He's probably on the 2nd page. Yeah, he's on the 2nd page. Mr. Prates is right over here. That's a small pick. Could we get the bigger one? I guess not, fellas and ladies, if you are watching. Here is Mr. Prates. Kind of blurry, but you can tell, Mayway, no, he's just 171, I believe. Let's get to the ceremonial. Real nasty face-off. Got up in his face with the nasty little, growl, whatever it is. Eyeing him down. Jeff, hey, look, man. Oh, shoot. Hey, look, man. The hoop earrings, we got to kill the wave, bro. It had its run. You wearing it now. I'm looking at you a little goofy. You know what I'm saying? So just for that, I got Prates by first round knockout. We can't do the hoop earrings no more, bro. If you're gonna rock the earrings, it just got to be a stud, a diamond or something. But the hoops and the cross, the dangly little crosses, it's over with, brother. Put it away, man. Carlos Prates first or second round knockout, just because he got the hoops in. All right, co-main event of the evening: Lerone, the Miracle Murphy versus Aaron Pico. The pick all week has been Pico, and the pick will continue to be Pico. Listen, this is how I see this fight playing out. First round, they find their range, couple leg kicks from Murphy to start it off. Pico, checks him. Pico finds his range with the boxing, gets the jab flowing. Murphy gets his jab going, right? We're going to see a shot from Pico. Murphy probably defends it. They get back to space. Pico closes distance, ripping to the body. Bigger shots landing from Pico. Murphy, does enough to not get damaged or anything like that. Second round, they come out. Pico's more comfortable in the red zone. Murphy's going to let a couple combinations go. Might sting him up, but then we're going to see Pico land something big and definitely could hurt Murphy. We've seen Murphy hurt against Edson. Let's go in order. Josh Emmett, who is 38, 39, got Murphy hurt, clipped him. Dan Ige, 36, 37, or he might be 35, clipped Murphy, almost had him out. If he was a little bit more, if his shot selection was better, he probably would have finished Lerone Murphy, clipped him clean. Edson Barbosa, up kick. Yes, it was a weird strike, but up kick from off of his back. He put Lerone Murphy out. So this chin has been touched and clicked 3 times in a row. But Lerone Murphy is very resilient. He can, definitely bounce back, and he came back and won the fights. But those were full camps. This is a short notice fight. And he's taking on a big puncher with some solid grappling or wrestling. And he's been training hard for a very heavy pace against Movsar Evloev. I think Pico is going to be more aggressive, be more nasty. He's going to be more tenacious. He's going to land bigger shots. He's going to have the crowd winning moments. And that's going to be, very impactful to the judges. And I think Aaron Pico wins by decision. I could definitely see him clipping Lerone Murphy too. Murphy, 34. He's undefeated. He's always been able to, make it back. And this is a very risky position for him. High risk. Is a high risk, high yield or something. But there's a good return if he does win. But he has to win impactfully. If he just wins on like a split decision, it could definitely question, his shot for the title. If he wins knockout, submission, or like 30-27 dog walked him, like how Batista did Apache Mix, then he's getting a title shot. But if he gets clipped, it's gonna be he'll probably end up in the back of the line. I could probably see him fighting like Aljo Ortega winner probably, or loser. Yeah, it'll probably be a tough climb back up. And he is 34, like I said, taking on Pico, who's not even 30 yet. I think Pico's just gonna be a little too nasty for him. Yes, I know Pico's been finished before. Murphy does have finishing power, but I just think, Pico training with Cal Levito, I think his name is, hell of a conditioning coach who's also been working with Hamzat, but we'll get to Hamzat when we get there. I just think Pico is just a different monster, man. And yes, I know, Bellator PFL guys have not panned out. Third time's a charm, I'm telling you. And this is a guy who's in his prime, who's taken on a solid. I feel as though this is the good competition level. You know what I'm saying? There's also been guys from Bellator that have panned out. MVP, who's lost one fight against Ian Gary, one of the guys who could fight for a title. Michael Chandler fought for a title. Yes, he's 2-7, 2-6 or whatever, but he did fight for a title. And when he, came into the UFC, he knocked out Dan Hooker, which was pretty impressive. I'm trying to think of another Kayla Harrison. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there are some hits and misses, but I think this is another dart right down the middle. I think Pico I think Pico's solid, man. And you know, if he loses by if he loses by like a split decision, don't come at me talking about, you know, I was tripping or nothing like that. But if he gets finished, hey, nah, I'll probably never pick another. I'll probably never pick another Bellator guy, another Bellator debuting guy, unless he's like, yo, you cannot, you know, go wrong picking him. But yeah, I'm going with Pico. I think he gets it done. I think it could be a decision. It could be a finish, but I wouldn't be shocked by either. I'll be shocked if he loses bad. That's the only way I'll be shocked. Let's get to the scales. Lerone, he did look a little sucked up. They had him on the interview. You can definitely tell he looked a little sucked up here. They interviewed him immediately after, and you know you could hear it in his voice. But it was a tough weight cut. Both of these guys don't have any body fat on them at all. They probably got like 2% max. Here's Pico. Let's see if we got. They don't have a shot of him with his arms up. But yo, this dude is ripped. This dude is ripped. He's jacked. Let's get to the ceremonials. Page 1, please. And here we are. Where's the face off? Boom. Murphy, slight height advantage, right? I think he has shoes on though. But look at Pico's back, bro. He looks wider than Murphy. I think if he gets a hold of Murphy, Murphy might not get out of that grip, yo. Pico's pretty strong. Murphy's going to have to be on that bike all night long, because if Pico closes distance with one of them big liver shots, I could see Murphy, you know, crunching up. Then an overhand comes over the top. Could be a long night, man. But this is definitely a great fight. Great matchmaking. Glad that, you know, we got this fight. Or, you know, Pico was able to stay on this card when, not on this card, but glad to see that Pico got a fight and, you know, still has a fight in the month of August, because he was supposed to fight Evoliv in Abu Dhabi, I believe. I think he probably would have lost that one. But this is, you know, striker versus striker. Well, striker versus striker with really good wrestling, who's been preparing for wrestling. I think it's a good spot for him. Main event of the evening. If you haven't already, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Dricus still knocks du Plessis versus Khamzat Bors Chimaev. I'm going with DDP. I did forget to mention this as well on the prediction show. The blitzes from DDP is another thing that Khamzat's going to have to worry about. I want to know how they prepared for that, because if you look at round 2 and 3 from Khamzat against Usman, he was standing in front of Usman the entire time. I think he shot 1 or 2 takedowns in those 2 rounds. DDP gets through round 1 and he's standing in front of DDP. Them blitzes are coming, and he throws them high kicks pretty fast. The body kicks are fast as well too. He's got power. I think DDP is a monster that, you know, Khamzat hasn't seen. And, Khamzat is a monster that DDP definitely hasn't seen yet. But I think his will, his, you know, energy, his grit, and able to fight through positions and just keep going is something that Khamzat is not used to seeing. You know, Usman, when he got back to the feet, he was a little hesitant to strike with him. Up until, you know, the last minute or so of the 3rd round. Definitely got that jab working. But DDP, he can throw any strike. He could punch. He can kick. You know, he can shoot takedowns too. What happens if he takes Khamzat down? I wouldn't be surprised if DDP is the first to shoot a takedown. Well, I'm the first, maybe not, but maybe the first in like the 2nd round. You know what I'm saying? Khamzat will have him compromised in his 1st round. I will say that. He is going to take him down. He will get on his back. I think DDP fights out of it though, like hell. And maybe Khamzat, you know, land some big shots. But I don't think we see DDP get finished. I think he's going to fight like hell to get back to his feet. And when he does, Khamzat might be a little discouraged. DDP said another thing too. All this dude knows how to do is win. He's winning in, you know, the gym, where he's when he's sparring. He's never lost anything. He lost around, Gilbert Burns, but like DDP was saying, you know, he does not know how to lose. This is a tough spot. You know, some guys, when they make it to the top and they haven't lost, it can be very hard. Look at Paulo Costa. That's the most recent guy I could think of. He was on a tear until he met Izzy, and he got finished. You know what I'm saying? And he really hasn't looked the same since. Unable to make weight, been pulling out of fights, losing fights. He just got his first win in a couple years, but you know what I'm saying? I think DDP gets it done, man. I think Dricus is one of them ones, man. I don't think he's going to fold to the pressure of Hamzat. He hasn't, in my opinion, he hasn't folded yet or, shown any signs of folding. If anything, I think Hamzat is trying to hype himself up, for this moment, getting the crowd behind him and screaming, Allahu Akbar. I think he's trying to pump himself up because he knows what is on the line, man. If he loses, there's a lot of, secrecy things going on with Hamzat and getting to the USA and stuff like that. I'm not trying to go into detail there, but, if he loses, what's the ramifications? You know what I'm saying? I think this is going to be a hell of a fight, man. Round 1 determines it all, in my opinion. Round 2, I think Hamzat is in for a world of trouble. But I could be completely wrong. Hamzat could finish this dude in 50 seconds. You never know. But I don't want to see that happening, man. Hamzat was the very first guy to weigh in, too. Weighed in at 183 pounds, which was pretty impressive. He has struggled with making weight before. But like I said, he's training with Sam Calavito, along with Aaron Pico and Armin Sarukian over in the garage, doing some hellish, conditioning. But it's all explosive work. You know what I'm saying? It's all explosive work. Yeah, he's going to have that first round explosion. But then what? What happens if DDP gets through that first round? That fuse is going to go, man. Here's DDP, made weight with like 7 minutes to go in the very first hour. They were giving him hell on the weigh-in show. But he made weight, no issues, 185. He looks to be a lot slimmer than he's ever weighed in too. Let's get to the ceremonial where we had a little bit of a confrontation. A lot of people have been saying, he tried to push DDP and he went flying back, but Dana pushed Dricus back. It wasn't DDP, but he did, you can see it here. He touched him on the chest, and Hamzat was the one getting backed up. Dricus was still there. Hey man, I'm going with Africa. I'm going with Africa in this one. But I think Dricus is the guy that can beat Hamzat. I think he can do it, man. I want to see how Hamzat I think it's gonna be like, they're just gonna meet in the middle. I think DDP's gonna walk forward with that blitz, and Hamzat's gonna shoot. I think DDP's gonna get his hips back, and then what? You know what I'm saying? This is a hell of a fight. Could be one-way traffic. You never know. But the way I see it, I think DDP survives the first round, and then it gets sticky. So give me DDP. I think he get a late finish or a decision. So I'm going with the champion to win, and still Dricus du Plessis middleweight champion. Now, like I told you guys, we did have, the Ruziboyev Bryan battle fight canceled, so I had to alter some of the plays. So with that being said, here are the new parlays. We still got MVP decision, Hooper Edson plus 355, over 2.5, which is a sweat. DDP versus Hamzat over 1.5, Hooper versus Alex, and then Pico decision plus 589. Then we had originally Ruziboyev, Pico, Kai knockout, but now we're going Sursakaev round 1, Pico and Kai knockout plus 621. Then we're going over 2.5, Dione versus Silva, Hooper by sub, Prates KO plus 717. Then we're going Kai, Prates, Hooper, Dione, which was a swap for Ruziboyev, over 2.5, Edson versus Klose plus 1002. Then we got DDP and GM3 sub. Like I told you, we got money on GM3 plus 1412. Bang, bang, bang. And then we got DDP, Prates KO, and Kai KO plus 1586 lock of the week, alternate lock of the week, and one of my favorite underdogs plus 1586. Man, let's bring some money in this week. I think we're gonna hit. I think DDP gets it done. I think Kai gets a knockout for the lock of the week. I think Prates finishes Jeff Neal. And I'm super excited for this entire card. I'm really ready for this card, man. I've been waiting on it all week, and I don't want to wait any longer. Got a couple more hours to the fights. I wish it was right now. So that is what I got for the weigh-in recap for UFC 319. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like the picks, if you don't, if you like the the switch parlays. I had to do what I had to do, man. I still had to get around those numbers that I was, because Mr. Battle can't, win the battle with a scale, but it is what it is. weigh-in recap show complete. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you for the full card recap immediately following the fights. And I'm hoping for and still. But and still for me, I'll see you guys later.